Hey, so I actually didn't expect to really be doing this video, but I just watched the new opening for One Piece because it got a new opening after Dreamin On. Dreamin On was a banger, but this new one has a lot of things in it, like visual wise, that kind of has me very, very intrigued. Now, Dreamin On had a ton of spoilers for anime watchers, and this new one has some things that have never even been shown in the manga, so I am very, very keen to speculate on them because I am just utterly confused and really want to talk about this stuff. So if you have any ideas on what they are, I would love to know them down below. And with that, let's just get right into it. I'm not going to show the actual thing itself because I don't want Toei to absolutely destroy me, but I will show some screenshots because that's allowed. No song either. Again, I don't want to die. So yeah, here we go. So I think something that's really, really interesting to take note of is actually like basically right at the start. They have this scene where Luffy is shown and then it shows young Whitebeard, Roger, then Rocks, which was really, really crazy. I was like, oh my god, Rocks is in the intro. Awesome. And then Shanks. Now a lot of people have theories that Shanks is related to Rocks in some way. I don't really agree. It is a theory that's very popular going around that Shanks is like Rocks' son, and it's kind of similar to Ace being Roger's son, and then someone else took care of them because obviously Rocks is a bad dude, and Roger, took care of Shanks, supposedly, in this theory. And I think that's neat. There's a neat connective tissue between the two characters. A lot of people even draw Rocks with red hair, but it's kind of weird to me because, he's a silhouette, you know what I mean? But I do think that having Rocks in the intro is pretty sick, and I just wanted to point that out. But what makes it really cool is that we see Whitebeard, Roger, Rocks, and Shanks, but not Odin, right? Because Odin is actually shown later as the traitor, Conjurer, because he disguises Odin, which I thought was a really great segue. And yeah, I just really wanted to talk about that. I thought it was pretty awesome. Love that Rocks is actually in an intro. It's kind of surreal, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, I'm wondering if Rocks will have more prevalence, because obviously Kaido is Rocks' apprentice. So is Rocks being shown this early in the intro meant to emphasize his importance later on in the Wano arc? Because obviously Kaido saw Luffy and saw those 5 people that I just listed in Luffy. Like, he has the potential to be one of them, you know what I mean? And having Rocks shown this early really emphasizes that point, in my opinion. So very excited to see any progression with Rocks and Kaido. Now the next thing I wanted to point out is something very, very noticeable, and it's that there's this massive beam coming from floating Onigashima, which is shooting at the flower capital, and it's just like, that was a bit much. Like, that was very intense. Now this could just be, oh, it's symbolism. Kaido's gonna destroy them all. But Kaido was gonna destroy them all with Onigashima falling on top of the flower capital. That's his whole plan. Literally, the symbol of his power is going to crush the symbol of Wano's power. And now there's just a massive, like, dark purple beam shooting at Wano, and it's just, that's a bit odd. Now, there was a scene earlier with the only character shooting a dark purple beam, and the whole intro was Queen, and I was like, that's very weird. And obviously, at this point in the manga, Queen he's out. He's done. So, seeing that Kaido is still fighting Luffy on the rooftop in this intro, in his hybrid form and everything as a dragon, Kaido, he doesn't shoot purple beams at all. Now, Kaido obviously has a very strong goal of getting the ancient weapons and getting the One Piece, obviously. So, a lot of people have been thinking, is it Uranus? Is Uranus somehow going to be in Wano? That could be pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie, because obviously we know Poseidon, we know what Pluton is, we have no clue what Uranus is. But seeing if that is actually the potential of what this beam is, because many people think that Uranus will also be a weapon, kind of like Pluton, how Pluton's a massive ship, Uranus might be something in the sky, I don't know. Many people also think Uranus will be an observation related weapon, since people think there's an association between the weapons and the types of hockey, which I think is kind of cool. Pluton would be armament because it's a offensive force. Poseidon is conquerors because it controls other things and allows you to literally communicate with them, control them, kind of like a conqueror is, very determined, allowed to sort of influence people to join their side, their strong will, you know what I mean? So having Uranus be this observation-based weapon, I don't know how it necessarily relates to the massive beam of death hitting Wano, but, something. I am very, very intrigued on what this could be. So this really has me perplexed, not gonna lie. I personally don't think it's meant to be anything, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe it could be something to do with the SSG. Maybe they come to Wano because the Marines are seemingly heading there because CP0 was on the phone with the people of Wano saying world government ships were heading to there. So maybe the Marines are coming, maybe the SSG. I'm hoping Fujitora. That would be pretty awesome. It's dark purple beam, dark purple man, I don't think he's related to the opening at all. I just want him in. So, yeah, those are my assumptions for the beam of death. I don't have any clue on what it actually is, and that's the best part, so very exciting. Now, right after this massive beam of death from the flower capital, there's a bunch of swords falling from the sky, and I don't really know what this is supposed to represent at all. I think, personally, Wano is covered in swords for some reason. It's just covered. And with Ringo, there was a lot of swords stuck in the ground because it's like the funeral section of Wano. A bunch of people placed their swords there in memoriam of the people who've died. It's their swords. They deserve to have it. But Onigashima has a ton of swords just planted into the ground. And there's that one really massive one. Now, many people think that Kid will be able to sort of magnetically use all these swords and create some massive weapon with them, which would be pretty awesome. And the thing that's so odd about this clip is that Kid isn't seen with these swords at all. They're just falling from the sky. Honestly, both Kid and Law are barely in this intro at all, which I thought was really shocking because Toei has been pushing this trilogy of Luffy, Kid, and Law so much in Onigashima. They've been adding a ton of padding, essentially, with Law and Kid being really, really highly regarded. They're taking out some, fodder, but they're taking them out in really cool ways. And they've been showing them off, like in Dreamin On. The rivalry between the three is really easily shown. And at the end of this, they have Kid and Law lifting up Luffy back to Onigashima after he's fallen down, which was really great symbolism, by the way. Good foreshadowing for the anime people, and a spoiler, but not blatantly so. So very, very cool. I like that a lot, actually. Much better than what they did with blatantly showing some crazy cool stuff. But overall, I think this little scene with the swords is just weird. I don't know what exactly this is meant to represent at all. Like, at least for the other two, there's some theories that I have going in my head. But for this one, I'm just like, why are there swords? What's going on? So this is a post-editing thing. And I'm looking at Odin grabbing the sword that fell from the previous thing. And there's a frozen log pose in the background. And I'm just like, and it's really big. It's a huge log pose. And you know what this is making me think of a lot? It's making me think of the frozen straw hat from Mary Joie. Remember from the Reverie? And it's just like, man, what is this? Why is there a massive frozen New World log pose? This is crazy. I don't know. Very, again, post-editing. But this is very fascinating. I think it might relate to the straw hat. I don't know why. Maybe... Again, post-editing, but remember how a lot of people think the straw hat is Uranus? Maybe the straw hat changed to the log pose to be like, get Nami now, not get Luffy. I don't know. That's obviously another theory in itself, but this frozen log pose that's massive has me very curious. This thing is massive compared to Odin, who is huge in himself. He's meters and meters tall. And this thing is the whole background. Very, very cool. Very intrigued on what this is. Now, this was another thing in the opening that had me absolutely perplexed, but it shows the skull dome of Onigashima, which I assume is a skull or made of rocks, right? Not rocks, but rocks like minerals rocks. And now that it's like lit in this really sort of red, fleshy tone, I'm thinking, is this thing coming alive? And it looks like really menacing. Like you could see like the gums above the teeth, and you could see like a bit of the nose of the skull is like coming back, and it's like, this looks like it's alive, because obviously skeletons of a nose don't look like this. Like it looks like it's reforming flesh, it's coming back to life, and it's literally moving in the intro. Honestly, this is really reminiscent of Oars from Thriller Bark, and obviously there's a ton of Thriller Bark Wano connection, because obviously Oars is an ancient giant race. They did ancient giant stuff with Punk Hazard, obviously. Wano and Thriller Bark, they have Ryuma, Shusui. Moria loses his entire crew. Now, okay, this is kind of crazy, but what if Moria is bringing the Skull Dome back to life? Okay, that's pretty dumb, but hear me out. Moria has regained relevance in the entire story in this arc. Obviously, he reconvened with Blackbeard trying to get Absalom and his crew back, and got beaten down by Blackbeard's crew, and then Blackbeard sort of tries to convince Moria to join him. Now, we don't know if he did, but if he did, that would be pretty fascinating, not gonna lie. And a very odd turn for this warlord gone very awry. And I think that this, again, this fleshy tone of the skull, it's just fascinating to me. Like, why does it look like this? Why is it moving? It's fascinating, because obviously this thing shouldn't be moving on its own. The island itself is moving, but the dome, that shouldn't move. It's firmly planted into the ground. So very, very fascinating stuff. If this dome somehow is coming alive, that would be pretty crazy. And what if, like I just said about Uranus, what if like, okay, hear me out. What if Uranus was given to the dome, and the dome became alive and able to observe things, if it's observation? That's kind of crazy. But like, thinking about mythology, Uranus and Gaia were the two that created life in the world. Uranus from the sky, and giving life to what Gaia had on the earth, and making the earth populated when they work together. It's kind of neat. I actually never thought of that before, but very, very fascinating if this is actually Uranus. Sorry for kind of backtracking on that same thought process from the last little clip, but I kind of just put the two together, and like, maybe the Skull Dome is what's shooting the beam. That'd be kind of crazy. But again, the SSG, that'd be cool too. One last thing on the dome, I'm seeing it move more and more. I'm literally going frame by frame, and it genuinely looks like it could either be snow on the top or like bones. But the thing is, the stuff on the top is falling off, yet there's something behind the skull. It almost looks like, what's it called? Like vertebrae, and sticking out of it. And I'm just like, it might actually be coming alive. This is kind of crazy. So, just wanted to talk about that one last time. Alright, that's all I'm going to say on the speculative side, but there's a lot of really hype stuff as well. I love seeing the clashes between Luffy and Kaido, and this one in particular, where the clouds split, like the split the sky stuff. Oh my god, this is going to be fire in the actual scene. Like, this already looks cool in the opening, but knowing how Roger versus Whitebeard was in the opening, and then seeing that in the episode, oh, it like blew it out of the water. So knowing that this is in the intro, oh, this is going to be fantastic. Very, very excited for Luffy and Kaido's fights. And yeah, just fire all around. Robin's fight as well, and Who's Who's fight. There's this one frame of Who's Who in it. Oh my god. It's So clean. It's kind of like the Luffy ulti headbutt, where the action is sort of so fast and intense that the lines start to like smear and it looks like it's drawn with like marker and stuff. It looks awesome. I'm probably going to have this on the screen while I'm talking about it, but that was great. Very excited for those two fights in particular. You all probably know that at this point because Jinbei and Robin, fire. So yeah, that's really it from me. Luffy and Kaido looks sick. Those other fights look sick. Very excited. And my man Drake was in the intro once again. Love to see it. But he's with Hyogoro. Drake didn't get his own time. Tragic. That's it from me. Hope you enjoyed. Would love to know your thoughts on all this speculation and stuff down below. So that's it from me. Hope you enjoyed the video and have a good one.